This right here is the shell from the sniper shot that I fired down the 100-meter range. So today is a bit of a story time. I'm going to sit here and fill in some gaps from last week. You guys might remember I uploaded a vlog where I fired my first sniper rifle. Apologies, by the way. I don't know guns. I'm in the UK, we don't really have guns, so I was woefully mistaken in thinking that the stuff that I fired down the 35-meter range was a sniper rifle. In actual fact, it was a rifle with a sight on it. Whatever. Today, I can actually show you guys the stuff where I fired a genuine sniper rifle at a 100-meter range. But before we do that, cast your mind back. If you guys remember the video, last week I went to an event in Axminster. And while I was there to do three things. One, fire some guns. Two, play Sniper Elite 4. And three, fire some more guns. Having never fired a gun in my entire life, not even like a pistol or anything like that, that was an experience for me. And after that happened, I then had to cut the video because what happened in the 100-meter range was a lot more tied to Sniper Elite 4. See, not only was that 100-meter range with some genuine sniper rifles, they also set up, instead of just having like a paper target where I can say, hey, look, this is what I hit, they set up gelatin skulls with food colouring in, and they also set up a camera that records in slow motion so that we can basically recreate the stuff that happens in Sniper Elite. If you guys haven't seen Sniper Elite, then when you get a really good shot, something like this happens. So the idea then was to recreate that in real life. So I'll show you guys some footage in a second. A little bit of context first. So in this range, I only had two shots. The first of which was using a Springfield, which was purposefully chosen because, of course, the setting for Sniper Elite 4 is World War II, set in 1943, so they wanted us to use kind of a timely, appropriate weapon. So that was our first shot. We only got one shot because it takes kind of a while to set up and whatnot. And it's also worth noting that this one is a lot harder to shoot with. It's got a basic sight, it's kind of harder to line up and whatnot, and a lot of people that kind of shot it that day missed. So I didn't really have many high hopes, to be honest. Having never fired guns properly before, I was like, you know what, I've got one shot down a 100-meter range, I've got to hit a head which isn't that big, that far away, so I didn't really have high hopes. Not only did I land the shot, without a single practice shot, I had one shot, had to make it count, I landed the shot. It was also a pretty perfect shot. It was basically above one of the eyes, it was just a little bit short of the kind of center of the head, and as you guys saw in the slow-mo footage, that was equal parts kind of disturbing and incredible. I don't mind shooting guns in a range in a kind of controlled environment because it's related to the game, but when you of course think about what it does in real life, it's actually quite scary. The interesting thing, and again purely from like a scientific point of view, and one of the guys explained there, is that the bullet is not actually what does most of the damage. It's the fact that when the bullet passes through, it's the kind of air pressure that creates the... That's really kind of quite disturbing. But in slow motion, when it's a gelatin head and no one was harmed, then it's cool. So that was the first thing. After that, we then switched over to a more modern sniper rifle. This was basically introduced because a lot of people found it hard to hit with the Springfield, so they were like, you know what, we want to make sure people can get a shot. So we'll introduce this one. It's got a much better scope. I apologise, I don't know the name of this weapon. Any of you guys in the comments that know guns, let me know. But either way, more modern sniper rifle had a much better sight. The sight in this one, they basically said to me, put the crosshairs on the head, pull the trigger, and it's going to hit. So really simple, and this is what happened for that one. Oh, also, they set up a femur this time, a gelatin femur, instead of a skull. So yeah, that was really cool. And again, when you look at it in slow motion, you can of course see the carnage that it creates. Now, of course, one of the big differences between firing these weapons and the stuff that I did on the 35-meter range, the 35-meter range stuff didn't really have much of a kickback or a recoil or anything. It's just like a little jolt. These ones you did generally have to brace for it because they kind of do properly sort of kick back and, you know, hit you in the shoulder and whatnot. This is nothing compared to later in the day. Sadly, I didn't get to fire it. Later in the day, they did fire a 50 cal. That makes some serious noise. I was 3 rooms back through like multiple doors and a tunnel and I still heard it. So yeah, they were talking about it afterwards in the kind of way that when that's fired, it creates like a shockwave and people's clothes will move and stuff. It sounds really crazy. Kind of sad I missed that one. But either way, it's still really cool. As mentioned, as someone that has never handled or shot guns before, yeah, I've been to like paintballing, or I've been to like the circus where you fire like a little, I don't know, pea shooter, but I've never fired a real gun. So I was actually kind of happy. You know, I had 2 shots, I had to make them count, and I landed them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's basically filling in the gaps, because as mentioned, there was the part during the episode last week where I was like, I want to show you this, I can't do it just yet. And the reason for that, as you guys now know, is because the slow-mo stuff they did ties in very nicely to Sniper Elite 4. So that's basically it. The last thing is, you guys might also remember this bit. What's in this bag will make a lot more sense next week as well. Basically what happened there is, I was going to leave and they were like, hey, do you want this? And I was like, sure, what is it? Turned out the head that I shot, they gave it to me. Now bear in mind, I'm not going to be keeping this because it's gelatin and it will probably go moldy at some point anyway. But if you guys want to see it close up, then I'll cut to a scene that I recorded the end of last week, and then that'll basically be the end of the video. Advance warning beforehand, it is a gelatin skull, so it's fake, but it does have food colouring in, so it does still look a little bit disturbing. So if you don't like it, or you don't want to see that stuff, then here's your advance warning. I would probably just turn the video off now, because that's basically the end of the video. If you don't mind seeing it, then stick around. But either way, that's the last bit. So thanks very much for watching. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. I've got an awesome vlog from another event I went to recently, and then in fact I have another one over the weekend from another event. A lot of stuff going on. Hopefully you guys are enjoying them. But anyway, enough of that. Here's the last bit, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. So the bag that I couldn't show you guys last week, if you're wondering what was in this, it's a bit grim, warning. But this is the skull that I shot at the firing range.